there was reports in the British press that if he'd lost at Goodison, he was going to get sacked. I don't know if that was true or not, but certainly he was on the edge. And Jan's right. And I said to you on the show Wednesday or Thursday, whatever it was, I said, they'll probably get a result because that's what they've done. And Jan touched on it. They've done it in the times of need. When it seems the manager is under the most pressure, they've managed to go away from home or do whatever it is and get a result. So I'm not surprised Manchester United got a win today. It was a big win for them, huge win for them. They're still in the bottom half of the table, but it was a huge win for them. It's a huge win for the coach. But it doesn't take away the long-term questions. It just sort of quells it for a short-term basis.
But they look good today. They were the better team, thoroughly deserving the victory.
Yeah,
Bruno
I agree.
Fernandes,
But all week you were chirping on about consistency.
Right.
When we talked about United, you kept saying to me and others, but it's consistency. And that's the problem. If United are consistent, I'm stating the obvious, he's not going to be under pressure. But they haven't been. It's been so many peaks and troughs that this keeps the wolves from the doors at the moment. But we could be having this discussion in 2 weeks' time after the international break, again with Manchester United. So who knows? I think eventually it will crumble for them, but I think as long as they can eke out enough results, Ed Woodward and the board won't make any rash decisions.
Yeah, and what was the key today for them looking so good?
Well, I think there was something in that team performance that I wanted to kind of revenge that performance midweek. I think that the way they're going forward is speed. They had more the ball, more possession today. When we saw against RB Leipzig, they couldn't get hold of the ball. And I think that we discussed that enough last week. You saw them being better on that one today. And Luke Shaw, I think, did he had at least one great assist or 2 assists now over the last game. But I think, again, Bruno Fernandes is the key. He is that guy who makes the tempo in the team. He's the one with the confidence in there. And I think sometimes we forget on this level how important it is to have confidence. And I tweeted before the game today, I think we can criticize Ole Gunnar Solskjaer for a lot of things, but he will never surrender. He will never be putting the panic bottom on. You always think that he will be on the same line, on the same temperament in and before the game. And I think that doesn't stress his players. And I think that's one of the reasons when they're always coming back from bad losses, because I don't think his management, call it bad, good or bad, but I don't think that will change a lot in the dressing room. That could be a weakness, and that could be a strength as a manager.
You know, the one thing I would say about Solskjaer is, in all fairness to him, he's not, you know, and I don't think he's the greatest man. Of course, I've made my feelings clear, but he's not frightened to make decisions.
Yeah, with Pogba on the bench, obviously.
But he's not frightened. He's nobody's fool in that sense. He's not frightened. He'll leave anybody out if he thinks he's going to get a result. I'm looked at that United side again, and he got it right with his selection today. But if I'm Paul Pogba, with that talent and that responsibility, with the price tag and the salary, I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed that I can't get into... Fred and McTominay ahead of you. Now, I know they're slightly more defensive players, and Jan and I touched on this last week, that gives the back line a little bit more protection. But then you've got, you know, Fernandes had a quiet couple of weeks, but he's back on song today. But Juan Mata's, he's 2 steps away from picking up his pension. Do you know what I'm saying? And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer doesn't feel he can put in one of the biggest, inverted commas, talents in European football. I mean, that's embarrassing that Paul Pogba cannot hold down a regular place in that Manchester United side. And it's not for lack of ability, because he's got as much ability as anybody. So that's telling you it's something else. It's desire, it's attitude. It has to be, Jan.
And I'm just thinking that Ole Gunnar, in these kind of situations now, he's come to terms with that his main thing is to get the best out of Manchester United and not the best out of Paul Pogba. I think that's a difference now. If Paul Pogba is not good enough, is he not finding his position in the team? Well, he's got to sit on the bench. It's quite easy.
Meanwhile, it's quite easy, yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's why it's embarrassing, because it's an easy decision for Solskjaer. If Pogba knocks on his door, and as you would as a player, Jan and I have both have done it. Hey, why am I not playing? Because you're not doing the job for me.
Right.
That's why you're not playing. And I've got other players that will get when I put them on the field, they've got more chance of saving my job. And that's why you're on the bench. And I go back to my point. That's why if I had that level of, and I had nowhere near his level of talent, if I had his level of talent, I'd be looking at myself in the mirror and I'd be saying, why am I on the bench in this very average Man United side?
Jan, I had a bet with someone that Everton would finish top 5. Since then, they've lost 3 in a row. What's happened?
I think they believed in the press. I think they believed that all the new signings were good, and they are good, but it just shows you it takes time to glue a team. It takes time. At the beginning of a season, you can get some good results. You get it in there, Everton competing with different teams who had different kind of pre-season, a bit lottery at the beginning, but Everton can be up there. There's a lot of teams who can be top 4, top 5 this season because it's still a funny season. And Crystal Palace coming up there, and you see in Germany, Union Berlin is now 4th position in the Bundesliga. So anything can happen this season.
Do you know, I like Ancelotti as a manager, and
Well, I'm sure he's pleased to hear that.
He's a friend of Gav Marcotti, obviously, and he clearly seems to me as if he's a guy that the players love playing for. He's an old school manager, players guy, I would say, rather than somebody who's into, I might be wrong, but coaching till the cows come home. But his decision with Jordan Pickford over the last 7 to 10 days has baffled me. He left him out at Newcastle and brought Robin Olsen in, who they signed on loan, I think it was from Roma, and then said to the press and said to Pickford that you'll be back in next week.
Yeah.
Now, I know Pickford's had his critics and he hasn't been at his best. Well, leave him out and just leave him out. But he's left him out 1 week, told him he'll be back playing the next week. Then, that's just confusing. And I'm not saying that's the reason they've lost 3 in a row, but when you look at managers making decisions, you think, what was the point in that? You either keep him in the side or you take him out and you put Robin Olsen in for, a dozen games, whatever it is. So that's just baffling to me. But yeah, good win for Man United. Everton did sign some good players with Allen and Doucouré and Rodriguez and so on, but they were never going to be good enough to be. So I don't know where you got that idea.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPNFC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.